Howdy folks, it's Age of the Hunting Gear Guy. Today I wanted to talk about magazine base pads, the bottom of your magazines, and why you might want one or the other. There's a couple of different variants out there. Now keep in mind, I'm going to be giving this perspective from the Canadian perspective, I guess. In the US, you might use one to extend the capacity of a magazine, but here in Canada, most of our magazines are, well, for a pistol, they're limited to just 10 rounds. So something like this 10-round Glock 48 magazine. These are just blocks of aluminum on the bottom. They don't add any capacity to the magazine. So why would you get them? Well, the first reason why I would get a magazine base pad is if I went to using a Magwell on my pistol. If you use a Magwell, a lot of the standard magazines won't go deep enough to actually seat. So while this magazine looks like it's seated, it's actually not latched on that magazine because that lip interferes with it. So for something like a CZ Shadow, you need an extended base pad that will still give you a little bit of room to seat and yet not engage with that magazine well and get in the way. So with my Shadow 2 and my competition guns, I use a small little base pad there. You can see that it's smaller than the footprint of a standard CZ magazine base pad. Oop, turn around the other way there. And that's because you need to be able to ram that sucker in. So that's reason number one. It's also why I use it on my Glock mags. So my Glock also has a big magazine well on it, and having a nice big stick on the bottom gives me something to hit against as well. So the other thing that you get out of this is that if you pull your magazine out of your belt and you don't have a great grip on it, like you don't have a normal grip would be index finger pointing up along the spine or the front of the magazine there. Let's say you've got like kind of a crappy grip, kind of a high grip on it, something like this. So you just grabbed it out poorly. As you push it in, you're not going to get a lot to push on. So having a base pad that gives you a little bit of extra space to ram against is, or a little bit more length is handy. And in competition, it doesn't matter if it takes a little bit more space. Like if we were doing concealed carry, you would want something that's very flush fitting and very small so that you didn't print in that kind of a thing. So something like this Glock 48 has a nice small base pad on it, but it also means that when I two-hand grip this thing, my hand is kind of popping out and popping over the magazine base pad there. So this would be great for concealed carry in the US, but it's not terrifically shootable. That's also why you might want to use extended base pads here in Canada. So these extended magazine base pads here, I actually asked JF Gunworks to send me some for the Glock 48 so I could try them out. And I had an idea that my kid was going to use this for a 3-gun, but he likes some of my other guns. So no, I've just got these extended base pads. But what they do is give you a much bigger grip as well. So you can see that that kind of comes along straight here. And now my hands have lots of stuff to kind of grip onto. I have like, I don't know, normal-ish size hands, large, I guess. And it is very nice to just get a little bit more real estate on there. Because a Glock 48, it's a bit of a thin grip on it. So you can see that the grip profile is a little bit thinner, and my hands are just humongous on it. So having a base pad that gives a little bit more space is nice. That's actually what some factory guns have. So this is a CF98, and you can see this bottom here, which you need to be able to grip onto, is actually part of the magazine. It comes with a factory base pad that's part of the magazine. V1 of this thing just had like a very thin metal one, and there's really not a lot to grip on if you don't have that base pad on there. So they can be functional. They can be functional that way. They can be like these nice big stick mags like this are very nice to put in there, because even if you misgrab them, there's still so much meat that you're pushing in on there that it's really easy to push them in. The extra weight does help a little bit with dropping the mag as well. You're adding quite a bit of weight to the magazine, so if it's kind of in sideways or something like that, you need to push it out. Just going to come out faster with that base pad in it compared to no base pad. Just a little bit faster, not too terribly much faster though. And another reason why you might want to get one of these things is if you shoot indoors. If you shoot indoors and you drop, not necessarily an empty mag because there's not a lot of weight there, but if you were to drop a full magazine, let's say you had a problem with the magazine, it had a jam or something like that, and you dropped it and it's full of rounds, you might bust up that plastic base pad if you're dropping it on concrete. whereas aluminum base pads like this one here are going to be a little bit more durable. And still, you know, do the same thing. They give you a little bit more space. They drop a little bit faster and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to rip through some of the options I showed you there of the different base pads that I use and that I have available. This is the standard base pad on a Glock 48. You can see it's just a little chunk of plastic on it. The Glock base pads are quite hard to pull off too. JF Gunworks sells a mild addition to that base pad, which still gives you a little bit more room. I'm not, well, I'm overflowing just a little bit over here, but it's still a lot better than the factory one. And then they also sell a jumbo one. Again, these are all +0 in Canada because we're not allowed to add more to a 10-round magazine. So that's the big fat one from JF Gunworks. When it comes to Shadow and really CZ75 magazines, the standard ones, here, let's grab one of these. Now there's two different kinds of magazines you can get for CZ75s. There are the all-metal Magwell ones that have a plastic base pad. These ones are really good. And then there are the two-part ones, like this IWI one. I think CZ, the Shadow ones also come with a two-parter. I hate these ones. They're hard to find base pads for, and they're just not a very good design. I prefer the all-metal ones that are just crimped. So here in Canada, again, limited 10 rounds. They put like a little dimple in there to limit it there. But the difference there, I found, especially with this two-parter from IWI, it doesn't want to drop free, whereas just my standard CZ75 Shadow 2 mags do drop free. And you can see there that they just have that plastic magazine base pad on them from the factory. It's all right. This extended one from JF Gunworks, just a little bit bigger, a little bit more space there, a little bit more to ram into, right? Because as you're pushing that thing in, this aluminum base pad is really great for pushing in. Oh, what we're trying to avoid here is a partial insertion that doesn't activate the magazine catch. And then you go shoot and you get one round off and your magazine drops out the bottom, which I've done that. Beyond that, I have some of these older base pads that I've used from Double Tap, which were pretty reasonable at the time. And you can see that those fit in there just great. And then for my Glock 34, my competition Glock, I've had these for so long, I'm not sure. They got a lightning bolt on them. Leave a note in the comments if you know lightning bolt on the base pad. I've put little like skateboard grip tape on there to just make it easier to really get those in. But I've got some of those, and then I've also got the JF Gunworks base pads as well, which stick out quite a bit more from these. I do like something that sticks out quite a bit more. For competition, it doesn't matter if it sticks out a little bit more. It just helps. Although if you shoot IPSC and that kind of thing, you might have to go with a certain size depending on what you shoot. All right, so I just wanted to show you how to install these things in a magazine. I'm going to show you the CZ mags because they're the easier ones to do. The Glock mags are quite a bit harder, and you need to like pinch them in from the sides, but these ones are easy. You push a little button in there, you start sliding it forward, hold your finger over top of that, grab your magazine base pad. I'm just holding that spring back right now, and then slide on your new base pad. Make sure that it clicks and that button clicks in there. It should lock it in place, and that's it.
That's a 22. Are you loading it?
The gun you're shooting. I'm
gonna shoot mine.
Now do keep in mind that some magazines are different. I made the mention of the CZ mags being different. Some magazine base pads work for the Glock magazines. Some of them work for the P mags. They don't generally interchange because they use a slightly different spacing on them. So do take a look at what you want to run in terms of magazines and what you have in terms of magazines before you buy base pads, or else it's going to cost you some extra. Should you get them? I think so. I think for most guns that you want to shoot and you want to be really usable at the range kind of a thing, magazine base pads do add to that shootability, do make them easier to grip on, make the gun easier to grip onto if it's a small gun. If it's not a small gun, it just adds a little bit more meat to press up into that magazine. I find a lot of guns, the magazine just kind of disappears into the magwell. It's a little bit hard to get them in there and really fully seat them. So they do help with that. If you're in the U.S., this is more of a decision on whether you want to add capacity to your subcompact pistol, really. Because with something like this Glock 48, you might not want to add anything. You might want to go with just a flat or a flush, or maybe you want to add a round or two with a base pad. It's really up to you what you can conceal. Here in Canada, we're just competition shooting, so all I care about is how it feels in the grip and the fact that it makes it easier to ram that thing in and get it out. So pretty quick little thing you can do to enhance your magazines and your use of them. Thanks for watching.